Today we're going to use Pygame's transform module to give our droppable sprites a little zing. The transform module offers a quick and easy way to do some sprite animation, plus more. Let's get started. Our game's droppable sprites drop down from a brick once it's smashed. And I have one animated sprite. You can see it here. It's a bird that flips back and forth. The bird is an instance of the flippable droppable. Here's that class. With an animated sprite, you want to change the image periodically so it appears to be animating in some way, walking, jumping, or turning, for example. The place to do that is in the update method. Update may be called 30 or 60 times per second, which is usually too fast for animation. So we use a timer field that increments each update. Once the timer reaches a threshold, we change the image and reset the timer. I'm using a function in the Pygame transform module, flip, and I'm flipping the image. It's generally important that you maintain a raw, untransformed version of your image and work from the raw image. Otherwise, you'll get a lot of image degradation as you layer transformations. Flippable droppable has a field, raw image, set in init, and that's the image I transform in update. I never change raw image itself, so it's always a pristine version of the sprite's image. This isn't critical when flipping, but it is very important with some of the other transformations, like rotating and scaling. I'm just flipping the image left and right, first left, then right, repeat, so I keep track of how many times the image has flipped with a field called flip count that I update every time I flip it. In update, I check if that number is odd or even, and if it's even, I flip the raw image, and if it's odd, I show the raw image. Let's look at the flip code. I set self.image to pygame.transform.flip, self.rawImage, true, false. Those parameters are the surface to flip, in this case the raw image, and then flip x, which will flip it horizontally if true, and flip y, which will flip the image vertically if true. You can see I'm flipping only horizontally here, but through a combination of those arguments, you can flip horizontally, vertically, or both. You could technically pass in two false values too, but there would be no point. This does not impact the surface that you pass as the first argument. Flip returns a new surface that is flipped, so you must store the result of the function call or immediately use it. We're storing it as the sprite's image. Before we move on, pause the video and mess around with the flip x and flip y arguments a little to see the impact of flipping vertically, horizontally, and both, and to get used to using the function. Hopefully you had some fun with that. Now let's look at some of the other functions in the transform module. Besides flip, there are various scaling functions so you can enlarge or shrink a surface, rotating functions such as rotate and rotozoom, and then some specialized functions such as Laplacian, grayscale, and threshold, similar to the method that creates a mask from a threshold that we saw in the last video. I'm going to copy our flippable droppable sprite to demonstrate the transformations, and I'll call it transform droppable. I'm going to change the names of the flip count, flip threshold, and flip timer fields to be transform count, transform threshold, and transform timer, just to make them more general. I'll make the Santa sprite an instance of transform droppable because it's an asymmetrical image, so we'll be able to see our transformations. Let's scale the transform droppable first. We'll make it smaller and smaller as it drops. The transform module has several scale methods. We'll use scale, which will scale to specific dimensions. We're incrementing the transform count variable every time we transform, so let's use that to calculate the scale. We'll reduce the width and height by 10% each time we transform. The exact math is on screen, but the important idea is that we're using transform count to calculate progressively smaller dimensions stored in the tuple size. And then we'll invoke scale. Self.image equals pygame.transform.scale self.rawImage size. Now, after we do that, we'll need to create both a new rect, because the image has changed size, and a new mask for collision detection. Flipping didn't change the rect, but scaling definitely will. And we'll want the sprite to shrink, but stay in the same place, so we'll need to get the center coordinates of the original rect, then get the new rect and set its center coordinates to the prior center coordinates. So center equals self.rect.center, and then after we get the new rect from the image, self.rect.center equals center. Rotate works almost exactly like scale. The only real difference is that instead of taking a size, it takes an angle argument in degrees and rotates the image counterclockwise by that number of degrees. You could multiply the transform count field by 30 to set the rotation, and use the same code to get the new rectangle and mask. Rotating an image usually changes its bounding rectangle. That's why we still need to recreate the rect and mask after rotating. Give it a try and come back. How'd you do? Here's mine. It's one line of code that I've added after commenting out the scale code. Self.image equals pygame.transform.rotate, self.raw image 30 times self.transform count. And that's a fun effect with Santa rotating as he falls. You could speed up the rotation by increasing the angle or lowering the transform threshold field. Now, let's combine those by using roto-zoom. This scales and rotates, but this time we pass in the scale rather than a size. The arguments are surface, angle, scale. Let's grow Santa this time. I played with the arguments a little bit, and I liked these values. Self.image equals pygame.transform.rotozoom, self.raw image, 30 times self.transform count, so that's the same rotation we just used, but to scale Santa up, 1 plus self.transform count divided by 2.5. When I run it, you can see that is also a fun effect. Let's take a look at the grayscale and Laplacian functions. I'm going to apply these to the entire screen because I can imagine that we have a power-up that turns the whole game grayscale or into outlines. However, you generally should not manipulate the screen like this, as it's not a typical pygame surface. I'm copying it, manipulating the copy, and then blitting the result back to the screen, which is inefficient. So this process is just for demonstration purposes. After we update and draw to the screen, I'm going to pass the screen to pygame.transform.grayscale and store the result on a different surface, and then blit that surface to the screen. And if we run the game, you can see the game is now grayscale. This is very simple, but impactful. Now let's change that to invoke pygame.transform.Laplacian and run that. Notice that we have outlines of our simple shapes, like the bricks, the ball, and the paddle. But the droppables aren't just outlines, and that's because of the way the Laplacian algorithm works. Laplacian is calculating edges by looking at changes in pixel values. The more shading, texture, and detail an image contains, the more edges it will find, and so we get a messy image. You can see from the enlarged images of the coin and Santa that there is a lot of detail. If we wanted simple outlines, we could have the droppables transform themselves by having them blit their mask to a surface and then running Laplacian on the mask surface, which would result in a simple outline. I've got some code that does that for Santa. Self.image equals pygame.mask.from surface, self.image.to surface, and when I run the program now, Santa is a simple outline. Let's look at one more function in pygame.transform, threshold. Recall that in our paint droppable sprite, we created a mask using fromThreshold. This found all of the blue pixels in the paint drop. We then iterated through those pixels and colored them a different color. This allowed us to change only the blue pixels and not the white pixels in the reflection part of the paint drop. Let's use threshold to do this instead. The threshold function is better suited to surface transformations, but the concept is the same. We're going to change only the pixels that are within threshold of the color we're interested in, the blue color. So again, we'll start by getting the pixel in the middle of the image to get the blue color. But then, instead of creating a mask and then coloring the image according to set bits in the mask, we'll write pygame.transform.threshold, self.image, self.image.copy, image color, threshold equals 10, 10, 10, 255, set color equals self.color, inverse set equals true. Let's go through those arguments one at a time. The first two are destination surface and source surface, so we're not assigning the result to a surface with this function. In fact, it doesn't return a surface, it returns the number of pixels that were within threshold of the color. For destination and source, I'm passing in self.image because I want the sprite's image to be changed, and then I'm copying self.image and passing it as the source. I ran this and passed in self.image for both arguments and didn't get an error, but it feels safer to have two separate surfaces here. The next argument is the color that you're trying to match. I'm passing in the color of the center pixel of the image. It's best practice to sample that color from the surface itself rather than hard-coding a color. The next argument is the threshold, and that's a tuple of red, green, blue alpha threshold values. I found that a little wiggle room here works best, so I'm going to change the color of all pixels that are within 10 of red, green, blue, and any alpha. Note that threshold is a named argument, so I pass that in as threshold equals. The next argument is set color, and that's the color we want to set the pixels that are within threshold of image color to. And finally, the default is to color the pixels that aren't within threshold of the color. So if I want to color the pixels that are blue, I pass in inverse set equals true. And you can see that works the same, but we've used one transform function rather than creating a mask and then either creating a surface with the mask, as we did for the paddle, or iterating through all of the bits and coloring the set bits, as we had done here. You can see that we can get some fun animated sprite effects without a sprite sheet by using the pygame.Transform module. We can rotate, scale up or down, and flip, as well as turning everything grayscale into outlines or changing colors. For homework, try enlarging one of the droppable sprites with scale. See if you can rotate clockwise and speed up rotation. Now, here's a challenge. Use the code that I uploaded as homework that cracks a brick when you hit it a few times before destroying it, and instead of cracking the brick, rotate it. It sounds simple, but I ran into a few challenges writing that. If you get stuck or want to share your successes, drop a comment below. And as always, have fun and keep coding.